Hello, fellow plate spinners. I'm really glad you're here for your weekly dose of authenticity and joy. I'm Selena Johnson, and your guide through this chaos of busy lives. In each episode, we unpack real tools to conquer overwhelm and dodge burnout. It's all about creating space for what truly matters. Whether it be through solo reflections or inspiring guests, this is your sanctuary for a more centered, productive you, with a healthy serving of that joy we talked about. Get ready to hit pause on life while we dive in to some real chats. Hope you enjoy. Hello. Hi. I am really eager for you to get to know my friend Laycee today. And I got to interview her. We have met through our Business Ladies of Society community, as often amazing women in my life I meet are from. And, you know, it's really, I know we talk about it at the end of the episode, but it's just so interesting to me how we live life with people, or we meet them, get to know them, and we keep things surface, right? Like a lot of times, I don't know, we're all living lives and we're busy. And I am so grateful for this podcast because it gives me a chance to go deeper with people and to get to know them on a different level. And this episode was a lovely, I knew I wanted to talk to Laycee, and I knew she had amazing things going on and that she is a beautiful person in this world that is helping people grow. And I knew all that. But it was such a beautiful surprise to hear her backstory and how she got to this place, and how organic it's been, and to just remember that everyone's got a story. And this is my, reminder and encouragement to you to get to know the people around you and ask questions and, dig in a little bit, because I think it helps us connect as humans, first of all, but it also helps us see in other people things that we want and things that we are inspired by. And it helps us, just know them differently. And just really excited about all the things that is going on for Laycee and for you to hear about it. She has got a very exciting conference coming up that we're going to talk about in here, and I encourage everyone to go get their tickets. She has got a really cool business and is one, again, that has grown out of a very organic, real, beautiful place. And it's just, as she's helping a lot of people. So this is Laycee, and I hope you enjoy today's episode. All right, we have a friend on today, Laycee Gwyther. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Glad for you to be here. We got to connect through Bloss, but now that I'm in your world, I'm like loving all the stuff that you're doing and putting out and sharing, and you inspire me constantly. And so I told you I needed you to come on the podcast, and I'm glad that you're here. So glad you're here. Tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're at in life, and we'll chat.
Yeah, so my name is Laycee Gwyther. I am a local resident to the Snohomish County area. I own a salon suite company, so I own a big building that has 22 individual rooms, and I lease out those rooms to beauty professionals who offer a variety of services of hair, skincare, nails, everything in the beauty industry, whatever service you can think of, we have it in our building. So we have a really amazing team of 32 people right now. And it's really cool. Like, we have innovated the Salon Suite concept. We are an education-based company. We teach our beauty professionals how to run and operate a business. We really pride ourselves on being value packed. So we have a classroom on site, an on-site learning area. We provide a ton of amenities and just a really good, safe, and I would just say positive environment for beauty professionals to be able to run and operate their business however they see fit with inside their room, and just be a part of a bunch of business owners that are trying to go in the same direction. So it's really cool. My job is cool, and I do a lot of coaching and education. It's really truly my passion. It's what led me to retire out of my salon this last year and move on to just something totally different. So that's just a little bit about me, what I've got going on in my life. I'm married to an amazing guy named Josh. He's just such a beacon of light to me. He has been
Mm.
such a supporter, and he's really the reason why we are here. He's always pushed me to be better. And we have two little puppies, and we like to travel and go around, and I like to have fun. I like to connect with people, and I love kickboxing. I kickbox five
Yeah,
or six
yeah.
days a week. So
Get
I
all
love
those
to do that
aggressions out.
too. Yes, yeah. So I'm just all about living life and balancing out lifestyle. I'm not just spending all my time building business, but actually enjoying my life too. And it's just, I feel really good. I feel like I've lived the best years this year so far, and we're just in February.
I know, it's so amazing. So that's what I mean. Like I met you a while back. I can't even remember which event we were at, but met you a while back. And then as we've kind of, gotten to spend more time together, I know we're both on the gold members with Boss, and it's been fun to watch you. I mean, it just feels, I don't even know you that well, and it just feels like you're just getting more and more like into your lane and your niche, like I can feel that you're just really loving what you're doing. So tell us a little bit about what led you to this point, because you didn't really have your sight set, I think, on education to begin with, right? You had a business that you were running, like as you said, a salon owner or beautician, or what were you? What were you? Tell me.
I'm a cosmetologist, fancy
Thank you.
term for a
Okay, I was like, there's a word
hairstylist.
and I can't think of the word. Like she's gonna tell me what she was. But tell us a little bit about that and what led you to this, because this is so cool. You're
Well,
educating.
really, I went to beauty school when I was 18 years old. I just grew up very different than most people around me. I grew up in really a lot of a tumultuous household. I did have divorced parents, and they were just really young when they had kids, and so um, younger young adults raising kids is hard. And now that I'm a lot older, I see like,
Yes.
oh, that must have been really difficult.
Yeah.
And whatever lifestyle I lived prior to that, I mean, there was a lot of trauma and abuse and experiences, but I also didn't really have a lot of rules. But I will say, like, I lived a good childhood too. I still played
Yeah.
sports, I still was involved in dance. I had a lot of good opportunities because my grandparents really stepped in to help
Mm.
raise me. And so there was a lot of my childhood that really was damaging, but then also there was a lot of my childhood that was really great. And I was in college when I was in high school, and I moved out when I was 16. Like, I always had a job, but I also had a drug problem when I was in high school. So my life was just like kind of crazy, something that
Mm-hmm.
you would not think that would be pretty typical. And I just decided one day that I was gonna go to treatment and get my life together. I was 18, so I just feel really lucky. I was really young at the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just went to treatment. And afterwards, I was like, I'm going to go to beauty school. I grew up in the industry. Both my grandparents were cosmetologists, and
Okay.
my grandpa was in education for Jean Rez. He actually sold Jean Rez his very first beauty school way back when. And
Oh,
my
that's so
grandma,
cool.
yeah, and my
That's
grandma
so
was
cool.
involved in skincare and hair competitions and everything in her career. So I was always been very familiar with the beauty industry. But to
Mhm.
be honest with you, I went to beauty school, so I stopped getting in trouble, thinking that
Yeah,
that was
that's so
going to be a
good.
way out.
It's like anytime we can actually like do something productive, you know what I mean? That's your best thing to do. So I love that you set yourself up for that success. You're like, I need like a thing to keep me busy. I love that.
Yeah, and I, thought I grew up in it, so it'll be easy. I'll just go to my grandpa's school. Like, I kind of in the back of my mind was like, oh, it's fine. Like, this will be easy. And then beauty school was really the first reality check as an adult that I had had. Like, oh no, you're in a school of 300 girls. Like, now what? And
Yeah.
you're being stretched in beauty school to learn new skills and learn how to develop and really connect with people. And I really learned early on in beauty school that it wasn't necessarily the actual skill of cutting and coloring hair that I loved. It was people. And I really loved the client base. And I was just got really good at the skill. And so when I graduated beauty school and moved into a commission-based salon, I worked really hard and I worked a lot of hours for the company. It was an amazing opportunity. Another one of those, like, there was a lot of stuff that I didn't love about it, but there also was a ton that I benefited from too. I just didn't really like the salon culture, the cattiness, the drama, the competition. And I definitely didn't love giving up 70% of my income that I was generating.
Right.
And so I really just didn't want to do hair. I really thought it was the industry that I didn't really love. But I
Mhm.
just never could let go of my clients and the people. Like I just always held on. And it wasn't until I met my now husband that he was like, why don't you just open up your own?
Oh, I love
And
people like that in our lives where you're like,
yeah,
can I? Like, is that like a thing? I
well,
love that.
I have been conditioned my whole life to, I guess, not really shoot for the stars. And so I was like, I don't
Yep.
know. I'm okay. No. And
Yep.
he really was persistent. And it finally got to the point where I was like, fine, I'll do it because that was a hope that it would be a little bit better than what I was currently experiencing. And I got myself into another situation where a lot of it was good, but there was a lot of it that wasn't really great. And it was the first time I'd ever really been exposed to what a salon suite was.
Okay, so you rented a space out in a salon suite.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And I learned really quickly, like everybody around me had a lot of the same questions I had about business. Because I was
Mm.
like, hey, what about taxes, sales tax in this area, licensing? And you'd be surprised. A lot of them were like, oh, I don't know. Oh, I think this. Nobody really had any answers. And so I think it's just the natural born educator in me that I was like, oh, we can teach these people how to do it.
Oh,
And so I just learned, and then I was communicating with the people around me and had an opportunity to bring somebody into the space that I was in. And so I did. And that's actually my very best friend and the longest tenure tenant that we have in our
cool.
current location.
So cool.
She's the highest grossing stylist. She's been with us since the very beginning. And she was really the first person I ever tried it out on. Like, hey, can we actually grow somebody and try to help them while I'm also learning? So I
Mhm.
think this whole how did I get to owning a salon suite and coaching and educating people,
Yeah.
I think has just been kind of one of those things that I've just stumbled upon because
Yeah. Organic.
yeah, I truly love people and I love watching people grow and helping them grow and providing resources for them. So I kind
Mhm.
of have just gone down this path of like, oh, I really like this. So I'm going to try
Mhm.
this. And then I'm
Mhm.
going to get really good at this. And one door just leads to another, that leads to another, that leads to what we're doing now. And I feel really grateful to say, like, I've retired a career at 34 years old and moved on to just helping people at this point. Like I don't have to worry about anything in my life. Like I really get to control my time. I get to control the
Yeah.
impact, and get to live the lifestyle that I really want. And it all just came from going down this path of trying not to be a bad person or get in trouble
Yeah,
ever again.
yeah, I love that. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. Okay, there's so many things. First of all, I almost started crying 3 times, which I did not expect, to be honest with you. And that's why I love doing these interviews with people because I learned so much about you and all of that, and I just all of it. So the first thing is I am so impressed by you because like you said, it was really out of a need of keeping yourself busy, but continuing to lean into that learning growth mindset is really what it's about. I mean, that is if we can, I know you and I both have the same heart for helping people see more in themselves, and I know that by leading them with the example of yourself of like, I don't know, I've just asked questions and I just, I think that's so cool. And I'm also thinking about these 30 some odd people who are in your suites who are watching you do this and they're thinking to themselves, maybe that's something I could do someday. It's probably not even something, when they started out were thinking that that's a thing. So I'm just like, my hat's off to you. It's very exciting and very cool. And you said something and it was like, oh my gosh, we could probably talk on this for hours, but and we don't have to dig too deep or anything like that, but you made a statement that you said, I wasn't really raised up to reach for the stars, right? And your husband was just like, I had the exact same scenario. And again, I was so loved and I had a great childhood, but yeah, I mean, it was just that, and young parents and, we also, the culture was as such, would, don't think too highly of yourself, like stay humble was like this opposite of like don't be narcissistic or egotistical. So it was always kind of like don't get too excited, right? And one of my greatest like regrets in life is I didn't like just push to go off to college. Like I just kind of accepted like I'm just going to go get a good job, right? And so I married somebody who also is like, why not? Like why can't you do this? And how cool is it to have somebody in your life that does that for you, right? Like it's, I'm
Yeah.
sure, yeah, like it's the
My
neatest
husband
thing.
is amazing. Like I am so lucky to have him. He is a lot of work, but I'm also a lot of work.
Yeah,
And
sweet, me too. Yeah,
I think for just the type of person that I am, I need a type of person like who he is, and vice versa. We get a lot like, oh, you guys are totally meant for each other. A lot of his family members are like, I couldn't imagine him with anybody different.
yeah.
We're vastly different human beings. Our
Mhm.
personalities are different. The just who we are, our viewpoints in different, the way we were raised was completely different. We truly are on separate sides of the field. But the one thing that we do have in common is integrity and our
Mhm.
work ethic and just
Mhm.
who we are as people, just confidence in who we are as people. And I think that came because we were in our mid 20s when we met. And so
Mhm.
we were older than what my parents were when they had me, when we first started to build a relationship. And I didn't get married till I was just under 30. So we
Mhm.
had spent years together. And I think that is why we are so successful. Like we spent quite a few years being together and then we got married and then opened up a business right away and really
Yeah.
turned the tables on our lives.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Kind of like when you
because,
have children, all of a sudden your conversations are different than they were
yeah,
before. Like, yeah, it's like,
yeah.
oh, this is
And
new dialogue. I'm not used to this. Yeah.
yeah, and I think too, like we just always show up and we communicate, and we are definitely not the same people we were when we first opened up our business, 6 years ago now. We have grown so much individually and together through this process. And the one thing I'm really grateful for is that he's always pushing for me to be better. And he saw something in me that I couldn't, but I think I couldn't because I was really clouded by the traumatic experiences. He's really encouraged me to heal that. And we
Yes.
have developed our home, our
Mm.
businesses, and our lifestyle around making sure that we don't repeat generational toxicity, generational abuse, generational limiting beliefs, because I don't necessarily think it was intentional to have an environment where it wasn't like go reach for the stars.
Mhm.
I was around some really amazing goal reaching people, but I think that they were just busy doing their thing
Yeah.
and they didn't
Yeah.
think about generational stuff or they were
Yeah.
just trying to do the best that they could. And I've just,
Mhm.
as I've aged, just have a lot of grace and understanding
Mhm.
for how difficult that could have been. So I
Yeah.
have no anger or resentment. I'm just
Beautiful
so
place.
grateful that I
Mhm.
have somebody in my life that understands that we are vastly different. And so we're going to build something together that's going to be for us, but it's also going to be with other people in mind and their children and build for legacy and for generational wealth versus just the short term lifetime wealth, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I just feel so blessed to
Yeah. Very
have
much.
him.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a gift. And yeah, very similar. And I know that also as you become an adult, I'm a little older than you. And as you become an adult too, there is this, I mean, it is such a beautiful place to be. There, were certain people that I would hold this like, I wish that it would have been different. I wish it would have been, looked a little different. And then as I aged, I'm like, oh man, first of all, they were kids. Like when I really think about it, I know how old I was. I was 21 when I got married, and I'm like, I shouldn't have been getting married at 21. I was like, I'm so grateful. My husband and I will be celebrating 25 years this year. And I can't even, I mean, I'm so glad that I picked the right one, but could have so easily not picked the right one. And but anyways, as I age and I look at the adults who were doing the best they could with what they had, and they really weren't, again, same, they weren't trying to like keep me down. I think, and very often they were trying to protect me from disappointment or hurts. And I think that as you age, I heard something a long time ago that said, basically that's okay, but now you're an adult and you get to pick. Like, you get to pick
Yep.
how you move forward, and you can't let that be something that holds you back. And that would kind of change the game for me, right? Where you're like, ooh, I
Yep.
get to decide. Yeah.
The minute that I realized that I got to decide, I think we get trained, taught, and educated and conditioned because of the things that we experience. That's natural. I think that that's part of life.
Yes.
And when you reach a point where you get to decide what worked for you, what doesn't work for you, and then you find somebody that you can build with, really, that's truly the love story
Yeah. Hmm.
around two people. And um I just I'm so grateful for the hard things that I've gone through. I've had
Absolutely.
conversations with my parents before, and I've told them I'm not upset. Like, obviously it's not, I'm not saying that it's okay, but I'm not mad. Like, I feel good for the person
Yeah.
that I am, and you should just feel proud that you have a child that made it out on the other side, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
Gosh, it's so
just
great.
be grateful and don't hold on to the anger and the resentment, because all that's going to do is really just eat you up alive. And what is the point of that? I think as
Absolutely.
I've really been open about the trauma I've gone through and really focused on healing the trauma and almost being a voice for other people, because be surprised how many women I have conversations with, or how many people come in and out of my life, either in our business or in, friendships or in networking groups, whatever it may be. And over the last couple of years, I hear a lot of the same things. And a
Mhm.
lot of people go through different situations, but they have the same feelings.
Yeah.
And they just want to be heard, or they just want to
Mhm.
be understood. And so, as I continue down this road of building our businesses and helping people buy homes and cars and have babies and build a business and be able to control their lives and stuff, I see so much of the benefit of just being there for people
Yeah.
and
Yep.
really investing in the people and not focusing on the profit, because the more you focus on the money, the less you have time to focus your love and attention on people. And really, at the end of the day, it's about the people. Like,
Yeah.
we're in this world, we're here to take care of each other. And I think sometimes people and situations and society gets clouded by things. And so I just feel like in a really amazing place that we get to have the opportunity to be able to, I guess, control and provide good opportunities and honest opportunities for so many
Yes.
people. And then
Yeah.
just know that we're getting better the more that we pour into other
Yes, I know. It's
people.
like mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how does this even work? How am I getting better and better every day in order to serve others? And I just think it's, I don't know. I'm with you. Like I will keep serving people. I've joked about this, which I'm not really joking, which is like, I'll keep serving other people just if even so that I just continue to grow, because I'm like, I can't control their receipt of it or who shows up. But I know for me, continuing to grow is going to make me more accessible to them and more, equipped to help them with their stuff. So I love that, Laycee, so much. Okay, so how would you encourage somebody who maybe is listening and they're on the other side where it's too hard, they're not sure what to do next, they're feeling overwhelmed with life, and you sounds like you've taken one in front of the other, and I know now you're in a really good place, but I'm confident at 18 it felt big, right? It felt almost too
Oh,
big
yeah.
probably. Yeah. Yeah. How do you encourage those people?
You know, I would just say, just take a first step, even if that's
Mhm.
admitting, like, I didn't like that that happened to me.
Mm.
And um, I would say my biggest piece of advice in making any type of significant change in your life, not just about trauma, but I'm just saying, even if somebody wants to write a book or go after their dream job or go get that college degree because they're the only ones in their family that will have gone to college, like whatever it may be. Just
Mm-hmm.
be kind to yourself. Like I have a thing I say a lot in our coaching organization, and I say, be nice to my friend. Like,
Yeah.
please be nice to her. Please
Yeah.
be nice to him. It's going to be hard. No matter
Mm-hmm.
what, any change is hard, but be nice to my friend because they're so worth the change that they're fighting for. And
Mm-hmm.
we are so hard on ourselves so many times when we're going through change because we have guilt and shame and fear and scarcity. It's all stacked up against us. And we just tend to feed into that and let it eat us alive. And just my advice would be just be nice to yourself. Like, be
Yeah.
kind to
Oh, I
yourself,
love that
love
so much.
yourself, and have grace. Like, have
Yes.
grace as you grow because it's messy, it's ugly, it's
Yes.
hard, it's
Yes.
you feel alone, you feel like
Yes.
you're gonna burst at the seams half the time. But I
Yes.
promise you, right on the edge of the toughest moments is breakthrough
Oh, I love
and
that.
significant life change. So, my advice would be just be nice to my friend.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love using the word clunky because that's what, like when you're first going through change, it's not smooth. It's not natural. I mean, you're really having to force yourself out of old habits and triggers and, all the things. And so it kind of feels like sticky and uncomfortable and you're not quite sure, like, it doesn't come natural, but the more you do it, I know even just practicing the art of just taking chances. I mean, you get better and better at that process. And it's really, really good advice. The grace is so important in the middle of all that because yeah, it's hard. It's hard, but it's so worth it. I love that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you have a conference coming up that I told you I want to talk about because it's very exciting. And did I just see you just dropped an ebook too? Are you gonna tell us about that?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm like, what's happening right now? Okay, tell me everything. So you pick. You could talk about whatever first, but I'm excited to hear about it.
Yeah, so I launched a 2-day women's event. So I have been coaching entrepreneurs and been in the personal development space for full time for about 4.5 years. And I love the event space. Like I love personal development and giving people really a life-changing experience through an event. But the hard part about doing it nationwide is that you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, that you're gone a lot.
Yep.
And I don't want to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been building my business here and I want to build the community here. There's a time and a
Yes.
place to build things with and for other people. But I just
Mm-hmm.
felt really like a strong calling in my heart, build it here.
Mm-hmm. I
And
love that.
I've learned over the last couple of years in personal development to listen to the voice, like listen to that inner voice because your intuition is a lot more powerful than you think. And
Mm-hmm.
now going through this experiencing and developing this 2-day women's event that's solely based on the experience. So we built
Mm-hmm.
this event from the perspective of the woman in the chair. What
Mm-hmm.
is that woman going through in her life and what does she need? And we have custom tailored an experience with keynote speakers, experiential leadership trainings, panelists. We have swag and entertainment and catering and
So
mixers
cool.
and giveaways. I mean, we just have 2 full days planned to give women an experience and a space to give themselves permission to change. And so we're
Mm-hmm.
going to teach some skill set stuff. So when you leave at the end of the 2 days, not only will you have loved the experience, you will feel like your cup is so full, you will have skills and tactical stuff that you can then take in to your personal life or professional life and start implementing right away and making that shift. So we're not
I love
looking
it.
for people to completely be different at the end of the day. We're looking for a small 1 degree shift because that small shift will make the biggest difference in the long run. And I totally believe in this and have so many amazing women on board. I mean, I told my husband yes tomorrow, even if I get abducted by, or told him yesterday, even if I get abducted by aliens tomorrow, this experience was totally worth it. Because this
Yes.
isn't about me, this is about helping other people. And I
Yes.
have just I have grown and I have met so many people, and I've been able to create and connect and provide. And now we're about a month away, and I'm just excited. Like, we are going to take 100, we're going to cap it at 100.
Yep.
And whoever wants to be in the room, like, we invite them, come and be with us and just shine bright and know, like, we will take care of you from the time that you come in to the time that you leave. And I'm excited to bring this to
Yeah.
this area.
And it's
We
gonna
have,
be in Edmond, so it's very local. And yeah, we'll put any information, any link you have for registration, we'll put in the show notes so they can go check it out. And I know I've been following you've been doing little interviews of people who are going to be speaking and such at the event. And I'm excited for you. It looks like it's going to be just such an amazing group. So it's
yeah.
pretty exciting.
And that's
Yeah.
why we wrote the book. Like, we
Yes. So
started,
tell us about the book.
yeah,
What is that? What's happening?
we just started planning the event. My event started was like, hey, I think I have this idea. And then I started talking about it and getting people on board. And we just started planning and visual. I took probably 30 to 60 days to really get clear on why I wanted to have the event. I got a lot of good ideas. Doesn't mean that I need to execute
They're
all of
all on a
them.
board somewhere for a future event. Like it's.
Right. But this one was one that just kept coming up. And so when I was going through this process, what I do know about events is you want to have value adds and you want to do marketing and you want to do all this stuff. And I've really been challenged. Like, a lot of people have like, hey, you should write a book, like, or share some of your experiences. And so I got together with the co-host, Aubrey, another woman who is amazing in the coaching and leadership space.
Oh,
And I was
great.
like, girl, let's do this event and let's freaking write a book about it.
Love
Let's
it.
write a book about being a radiant woman. So as we go through this, so we spent a couple months on it. We wrote it, and we've launched it. So yeah, we're doing an event. I wrote a book, like, download
Yeah,
it for free.
no
We're
big
just
deal.
trying
No big
all the
deal.
things.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So I know I'm gonna go download it because when I saw that coming, I'm like, this woman, she's on fire. 2024 is gonna be a fun year in the Gwyther house. That's all I got
Oh
to say.
yeah.
You've got good stuff going on. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me ask you some fun questions as we wrap up so people get to know you even more. What are you feeding your mind with right now? Because you're serving others, so what are you feeding your own mind with?
So for me, I love personal development books. I try to make it a habit, not even try. It is now a habit of mine that I just have been trying to implement for years. And I could just never pick up reading a book every single day. So I keep it simple. 10 pages of a book or 20 minutes of a podcast. And I've
Perfect.
created that super simple habit. Um, right now I'm reading Buy Back Your Time,
Mhm.
which is an amazing book. And then the next book that I have is called Boundaries. And so it is, I'm all about learning how I can be better. And then some of the podcasts that I listen to are Championship Leadership Mindset.
Mhm.
I do listen to one that's about healing trauma, and it's called Unf Your Brain. Um,
Yep. Okay. I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
yeah, and she's amazing too. She just talks about how you have to just reprogram and rewire a lot of things in your brain if you've been through some traumatic stuff. And I've put myself through enough traumatic things in my life to at least get a lot
Right,
of
right.
benefit
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
it.
we don't need other people sometimes. We do it to ourselves. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so that's what I try to do. I try to just pick up a book and try to just keep it simple, either 10 pages or 20 minutes of a podcast as I'm headed to work or I'm driving to an appointment or something. So I just try to keep it simple
Yep.
and one book at a time. And then somebody will recommend another one. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to put that on my list. And
Yep.
so I just do 10 little pages a day and little bite-sized pieces. And last year I read like 15 books
Yeah, that's
by
amazing. I mean,
doing that.
and it's honestly, I think for me too, 10 page, I do the same thing, which is that sometimes it's 5 minutes of a podcast. I'll say like that counts. And I think we do this weird thing where we're like, oh, if we don't like, go all in on a book and like read it in 3 days or whatever, that it doesn't get all of it counts. If you're doing anything to shift your mindset that day, it counts. So I love that you keep it simple because I think that's doable. It's bite-sized pieces. And sometimes you're reading something or listening to something that you really do need to take time to process, So I like that if you go too fast and too far ahead, it doesn't really serve you the way it could. So I love that. What brings you joy?
My puppies.
Oh, what kind of puppies do you have?
I have two pit bulls.
Oh,
I honestly I love my dogs. Like I have a
oh,
14, almost a 14-year-old pit bull, so he's a senior. I got him when I was 21. He was the first thing as an adult that I had to take care of besides myself. And man,
hmm.
we've been through the ringer with him in
Yeah.
surgeries and experiences and stuff, but he is just such a wonderful dog. I love him so much. He is
Oh,
just old now, and so
yeah.
we just
Yeah.
start taking advantage of every single day that we have with him. And then we have an 8-year-old little
Mhm.
pit bull. Her name is Lola. So we've got
Oh,
Otis and Lola, and they're
so
just
cute.
vastly different too. It's funny. She's like me, and Otis
Yeah.
is like my husband. And so you can see
Yeah. Yeah.
personality
Yeah.
things. And she's just so
Oh,
spunky and so full of life and so lovable and loves my husband so much. So, really coming home or spending a lot of time with them
makes
is
sense.
really truly like every time I'm with them, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love you guys so
I want
much.
to stay here. Right, right. Oh my gosh, I love that. What's your favorite way to pause?
Honestly, again, one of those like bite-sized habit things, I meditate.
Yes.
I take 5 to 15 minutes a day and just try to do a strategic reset and pause and just try
Yep.
to, whether I don't even, I mean, I'll be in my car sometimes and
Yep.
just be in a parking lot and I just like will lay back for, 5 to 10, 15 minutes because
Yep.
what I've learned through this personal development space is our brains get fatigued and our bodies get fatigued. And if
Mm-hmm.
we don't pause and we don't reset, we will actually burn out. So, with
Yep.
how much we've got going on and how busy we really are, I really try to be good about being strategic. And in the middle of the day, or when I'm feeling, I don't know, like that afternoon crash, that I
Mhm.
drink some water and then
Yep.
I will just shut my eyes wherever I'm at for 5, 10, 15 minutes a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, I mean, you're speaking my language. I mean, that's like, yeah, I'm like, yes, because you're absolutely right. We tend to try to power through when we're in those moments if we're getting overwhelmed and burnt out, like, oh, I just need to do more and get it faster. And it's just, you literally should do opposite. Like you should stop and reset, and then you'll come back at it stronger. And I totally agree with you. Okay, if you could go back in time, you get to pick the age. What advice would you give yourself?
Oh man,
I
if I could
know.
go back, um, if I could go back to an age and tell myself something, it would be, I think of the very first time, I think the very first time that I felt alone, like when I was very
Mm.
young, and I would just tell
Mm.
myself, like, you're not alone.
Yeah.
Like, you're the brightest star in the whole
Oh,
room.
I love you. Oh, that's really good advice. That's good advice. Everyone should tell themselves that right now. Just tell yourself that
Yes.
right now. Yes, I love that.
And
Um,
ironically, just over like the way that this has happened is I have stars tattooed on me, like a bunch of them.
mm,
And,
mm,
I think people forget who they are sometimes. And
yeah,
that is because that brightness of that star is dimmed real young. And so I would just go back to the first time I ever felt alone, which was when I was a small child.
yeah. Oh, I love that for you. And I love that you probably tell yourself that now. You're not
Oh, yeah.
alone. Yeah, I love that. What's favorite I feel like we should just end right there, but I want to ask you the fun question. Like what I'm like, okay, and scene. What's a favorite product you can't live without? I want to hear yours. I'm so excited.
Favorite product I cannot live without.
You had products all around you too, which is like, oh, I'm like, I'm so curious. I'm like, what is she gonna say?
Um, favorite product. I would say, honestly, favorite product ever in this whole entire world that I cannot live without, flipping coffee.
Yeah,
Um,
I get that answer so many times. That's the answer we get.
to be honest with you, like if I had to like beauty industry related, like my
Yeah.
favorite product, travel size baby powder. That is my go-to
Oh,
for everything with hair.
like
It is
dry
a
shampoo, all the things. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a dry shampoo. It's a texturizer. It's like a root lifter. It will help. Like my hair is really fine in texture. It never wants to
Yeah.
hold a curl. So it will give it texture without weighing it down. There's no alcohol. It's super cheap, super affordable. The small, little, tiny
I'm
baby
like
powders can
so
fit in
excited right now.
anything. Ah, it's amazing. I use it all the time. And so I would say my go-to product is not even actually a professional beauty product. It's
Yes.
little baby bum powder.
Oh my gosh. I think you just like gave everyone a life hack, which is like
Yeah.
amazing. And I travel so much for work, as you probably know. And so I'm like, I'm going next week. So I'm gonna go and like go pick up some baby powder now. I'm like so excited about it. Oh my
It'll
gosh.
change your
Okay.
life.
Yes, it'll change my life. Laycee, this has been, I mean, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you took the time. I know you're very busy, and I hope that that you enjoyed being here too. But I know this is going to help a lot of people with a lot of things. And if anything, maybe even just start digging into some of their old stuff that they need to work through. And I love that you talk about it. So thank you so much for being here.
Yes, and thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun. I love doing stuff like this. And so
Yes.
when you asked, I was like, yes, absolutely. Let me
Yeah.
be on because I found in connecting with people like you and the other women in the blogs community, like we have a lot in common, even though we're all different. And
Yeah.
it's awesome to connect with people and have conversation and grow the relationship. And I just love that we're in each other's backyard, so we can go out for coffee and we can
I
build
know.
true relationships. So I'm just so
Um,
honored. Thank you so much for having me and letting me just share a little bit about my experiences in life.
Yeah, I love it so much. Yeah, it's funny because I didn't even plan to ever do interviews on the podcast. I just thought I would just have solo podcast or whatnot. And as I've gone through this process, it's moments like this, like with you, where I'm like, I love getting to hear people's backstories, and there's so much we can learn from each other. And I think, if anything, we can encourage people just ask questions of each other. And you don't have to have a podcast to do this. Like, just talk to people, and it's just a really beautiful thing. So this is a good example of getting to know the people in our lives. So I'm glad you're here.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for listening. I'm just so grateful that you would take the time to be here with me today. I hope that if there's anything that inspired you or got you excited, that you would share it to social media or send me a message with any input or feedback that you have. And just really appreciate the support and the encouragement that I get from you guys all the time. I will keep showing up, and I hope you keep listening.